Hello there folks, welcome back to BSG Online. We're now ready for our next run, which is going to be Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by nixxoman. Please take it away.
Yeah, welcome everyone. We're gonna play the third Harry Potter game of the series for the PC. I'm gonna go right ahead and start, because we start with a cutscene, so I can take the time to explain. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. So yeah, as I said, it's the third game for the series. People say it's the last good game of the series, because they kind of spiral down afterwards quite heavily. You might have memories of playing this as a child, but you might have also played the console version, which is 100% different for some reason. Like, EA literally made two 100% different games out of this year at Hogwarts. So if you remember this game slightly, then but don't remember it completely, then it might be because you played the console version. Also thanks for all the good luck. We start off right away in a train, which is pretty much the worst part of the run. It's a tutorial kind of thing. They teach you how to walk and how to cast spells, and it's a lot of cutscenes. And talking about cutscenes in this game, they're a bit weird anyways, because some of the cutscenes you can skip, some of the cutscenes you just can't skip, and it's really kind of random which cutscenes you can skip and which ones you can't. We don't really know why you can't skip some, but it feels like the unskippable ones are the ones that have the story and like try to teach you something about the game, but it's really kind of random, because some of them are super useless. But yeah, we're about to start movement in a second. Story-wise, it's Ron's rat is heading off because it's getting chased by Hermione's cat. It's kind of like in the movie. If you're hoping that this game is close to the movie / books, it isn't. Small disclaimer already, it isn't at all. They have a lot of creative freedom, and then they put like all of the story in one cutscene, pretty much. But we start off right now with a trick after this cutscene. There is a cutscene here of Ron's rat running off. If you use this luggage, you can jump over the trigger. You see the rat up there, but it's not doing anything. It's not a big skip, it's like 6 seconds. But usually if you fail it, you just like, you rage quit out of it and reset. But yeah, once again, there's kind of a small tutorial. They teach you how to jump, they teach you how to cast spells, and how the character switching works. I kind of felt a bit ripped off as a child, because you cannot freely switch your character. Which the console version does, by the way. You can freely switch in that. But in the PC version, the game switches for you. And honestly, after reading the back of the disc I had, the disc case, it seemed like you can freely switch in this as well, so I kind of feel ripped off. But it's okay. Game does a pretty good job auto-switching. Yeah, now they explain triple casting, which you need the AI for. But we don't. We just cast through the wall because hitboxes are good. It's called a turn cast. We're gonna do that a few times in the run. Whenever you're next to a wall and turn and cast, you can kind of shoot through it. It's quite handy in a lot of places. But you're talking about the AI, it's actually quite okay. Like usually when it's supposed to help you, they do help you. It's definitely better than the HP4 AI. Everyone who played that game, like the next one in the series, just knows. And hey, this game also has Draco Malfoy. He looks very weird in this game, but that's okay. And it's kind of the first boss fight coming up. If you want to call it a boss fight, it's against the book. Books are big enemies in all of the Harry Potter games for some reason. And this boss fight actually has a bunch of RNG. It spits out a lot of pages. We got best RNG, nice. So 7 pages is the best it can do. Sometimes some of the pages despawn, and well, you need the pages to do damage. So if they despawn, it's bad, because it takes a while until the book spawns it again. And yeah, 7 is the best. Thanks, Ron. If Ron gets a page, he doesn't do damage. So if he gets a page, that's not good, but whatever. Shoutouts to Ron. Usually the AI is not good at casting at stuff in those fights, but sometimes they do, and it's annoying. Imagine if there's run PBs. I PB'd yesterday actually in this, so I feel well prepared. Let's see. Facecam isn't in sync. It isn't actually. Give me a second. Don't know why. Don't know what happened there, but that's okay. Fixed it. Okay, anyways, that was the first book fight. And now we get the other bosses in this game, which are the Dementors. People that know the story, I'm not gonna explain too much about the story. I just, you know, expect that most people know Harry Potter, at least a little bit. But the Dementor fights are probably the lamest thing ever. Because you're just standing there doing nothing. They look pretty okay though. For a 2003 game, they look pretty decent. But yeah, as I said, tutorial area, nothing really going on here. Just gonna, well, take our time, block the door. Because apparently the Dementor struggles with getting through doors. The order of this is 100% random as well. It's like you can't really lose time, any order is fine, but I just aim at this because it's, yeah, there we go. It has those 3 depulsos, and once again, order is 100% random, but it doesn't really matter. And this is like one of the first cutscenes we can skip. And it's a weird skip right away, because cutscenes skips in this game don't work like you think they should. It's not just press a button and the cutscene skips. There's like literally a list of how to skip every cutscene in this game in our Discord. Because for some of them you have to mash the entire time. For some of them you have to press a button like you would expect. For some of them you have to start mashing until you hear a sound and then stop mashing. It's its own science kind of in this game. So if you want to speedrun this game, you have to learn how to skip the cutscenes, and like literally all of them are different. Yeah, we're about to enter the very first spell challenge. Done by Ron Weasley, actually. He's the first one up. The first lesson of school. And it's actually probably the hardest part of the run. And the most fun part of the run. It's called Carpe Retractum. They're gonna explain it in this cutscene as well. But the basic idea is those purple thingies that we're about to see. Hopefully soon. I don't know how the cutscenes work because I never pay attention. But they should show them soon. But yeah, those purple things. If you cast at them, you get pulled towards them. That's the general idea. And this mechanic kind of breaks if you cast the spell while being in the air. And Ron kind of becomes Spider Ron, in a way. Or Tarzan Ron. Depends on what you like more. So whenever you cast at Carpe in the air, you can do some pretty cool swings, which pretty much fly you through the entire level. Like so, hopefully. There we go. So with that we can skip quite a lot of stuff throughout the entire run. So that's what this challenge is based around. It is preciser than it looks, or more precise. So if I fail some, that's totally fine. In this one we have to jump around a cutscene trigger. I don't know if that works, no, I thought so. This cutscene trigger I wanted to avoid, but that's probably the hardest swing of the run, because of the trigger being there. That's okay, it's only like 6 seconds. And now we kind of see the first enemy in this game. It's an imp. It's the most annoying enemy of them all. Also, I didn't really talk about that, but you see in the top right corner, you see my FPS counter, which is kept at 60 FPS. And if you want to play this game casually, you're probably gonna softlock here at the imp. Because if you don't cap your game at 60 FPS, he's just not doing anything. And yeah, if you want to play it casually, the way to fix it is just cap your FPS. And well, those things are kind of annoying, because you can't kill them yourself with spells. You have to wait for them to do a move. And in speedruns, whenever you're dependent on the AI, it's not a good thing. It's not very helpful usually. So we have our ways to manipulate them, but it's kind of inconsistent. That's probably my favorite room, just because of the Carpe swing. Because who needs, like, whatever you have to do in this room? I honestly don't even remember. We can just fly straight through. Talking is hard. Oh, whoops. You saw nothing. RNG manipulation. And on to the next thing, which is a fire crab. And it shoots fire out of, well, as this game calls it, his backside. Gotta keep it PG. And, well, they're not too bad usually. They like to bounce around, and you have to push them into those little holes. And it's kind of random where they are. Like in this room, they're just... I think they're on a cycle, but it feels so random. They're just anywhere or somewhere every time. Yeah, actually good point. At least in this game, we don't die straight away if you fall down. Oh no, that's awful. I messed up that swing. Now we have to wait for the cycle to come back. But yeah, in HP 1 and HP 2, whenever you fall down into the void, you actually die. In this game you don't. Also, that falling down was actually intended because it closes the door, which gives us a way better angle for this swing. And that crab can snipe you while in the air, by the way. That happened many times, and you fall like down straight away. Yeah, sadly the best challenge is almost over. We have one card per final later though, which is pretty much the same. You swing around like crazy. You can jump over that save book. I didn't. It doesn't really matter though. Ooh, where's the second one? Where is he? Usually you want them to group up, which we achieve by doing, well, not really specific movement, but you kind of have a movement in your muscle memory. What to do to make them group up. We use a moving platform boost here. Like if a platform is moving and you're jumping off it, you get way more momentum than you should. And there we go, that's the first challenge. It wasn't too bad, I failed like 2 swings. Happens. But yeah, once again, probably the hardest part of the run. And we're coming up to the biggest skip actually. The single biggest time save of this run. Which is the Fred and George skip. We're supposed to go up to Fred and George's shop, because for some reason they have a shop in a toilet. Don't question it. But instead of doing that, we casted this, was just a secret, and then kind of jump into here and slide up, and just jump outside. Nice first try, by the way. It's actually kind of precise. So going up to Fred and George's shop is like 4 minutes, I think. There's a lot of unskippable cutscenes, and there's a peace fight, and a lot of stuff. So it's good if you can just jump outside. Also, we're coming up to a cutscene, so if you have any stuff to read, feel free to.
Yes, well, I would like to thank ESA for supporting the event and for allowing us to stream on their channel. For information about their upcoming events and any changes due to the COVID-19 outbreak, be sure to check out esamarathon.com. If you're from the UK and would like to attend an event similar to BSG, we highly recommend checking out UKSG, which is an event in Glasgow running 4 times a year, raising money for young minds. I'd also quite quickly like to bring your attention to, again, a couple of the incentives. We do have the Shovel Knight, King of Cards, which I mentioned earlier, €100, sorry, my apologies, to change jump and dash colours for Shovel Knight. But we also have another one, which is $50, required €50. Keep getting that wrong. €50 required for punching the boulder in Resident Evil 5. And that's coming up sooner, so you may want to consider that one as well.
Yeah, get your donations in. But yeah, we started the next section, which is kind of like 3D Flappy Bird. It's the Hippogriff Riding. You need 15 rings in total. And there are way more than 15 rings here. I'd take it a bit safer than actual runs, because I don't want to fail this. It's pretty much the worst thing that can happen, because you would have to redo it. But yeah, we're good on rings. I can just skip a lot of them, because once again, they're like 30 here or something, maybe even more. And, well, it's not really spectacular. It's just kind of... The Hippogriff has a really bad hitbox, so you kind of bump into everything if you play it casually. But it's quite fun. There are like 5 levels like this, which we don't do in any percent, sadly. We only do this one. And we even get a collector's card for it. Also, this is probably my favorite cutscene of the game. Pretty much everyone's favorite cutscene of the game. Because Malfoy is about to insult Buckbeak, and the animations are just great.
I bet you're not dangerous at all, are you, you great ugly brute? I'm dying.
There he goes.
Look at me. It's killed me. You're not dying.
Obviously deadly injured, as you can see.
You'll be alright.
So, yeah, I mean, that happens in the book as well. So, at least they're close to the book.
We'll make something out of this.
And we're gonna head up to the second lesson. This is another cutscene that nobody really understands. Another cutscene skip, at least. We just mash here like crazy. And it either stops after 5 seconds of Hourglass, or it stops after 7. I got the slow one, of course I did. Not surprised. So I lost 2 seconds for like basically nothing. But we don't really know how to skip it more consistent. That's what I meant when I said cutscenes are weird in this game, or cutscene skips. But before we can enter the second lesson, we have the one piece fight we can't skip. Like, throughout the first 3 games, there are, I think, 6 or 7 piece fights. Should be 6. But maybe it's 7, I can't recall. And we can skip literally all of them except this one. So for now we have not found a way to get around this one. Also, if you're not familiar with Peeves, he's a character who's in the books, but they just completely cut him out of the movies. He was actually like cast for the movies, but then they cut all of his scenes out, which is kind of a shame. A lot of book fans like Peeves quite a lot, so I'm glad he's in the games. I think the backstory to him being in the games is actually that the game devs saw like pictures from the sets. That's what they based their game on, at least the first one. So they saw like behind the scenes material essentially, because they're officially licensed. And that had Peeves in it. So they made the games before he was cut out essentially. Or they made the first game at least, before he was cut out of the movie. But yeah, we're entering the class. Sadly can't skip this cutscene. It has McGonagall transforming into a cat though, which is a glorious animation again. And the lesson really doesn't have a point. She's kind of just flexing with the ability to turn into a cat. Because the actual lesson is about a completely different spell, so I don't know why this is part of it.
Are there any questions?
Do we have time for some donations?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, we've got a few donations here. We've received 20 euros from Charlie C, who says, donating so that Chris Redfield can fulfill his lifelong dream of punching boulders. Well, thank you very much. That's going towards the Resident Evil 5 boulder punching incentive. We've received 10 euros from Complex Beaver, who says, get mail-in cycle or another 10. Well, I'm not sure what that refers to, but maybe you can enlighten us.
It's a trick pretty late in the run. It's in one of the finals. It has a 2-frame window pretty much, and only 2 people go for it, and I'm one of them. So I'll try for charity. I can't promise anything, but yeah, thanks Beaver.
Thank you very much. And one final one just now from Shuri Bear, who says, let's cast Avada Kedavra on COVID-19 and kick its butt. This donation goes towards running Rayman 1 on the Atari Jaguar, because I would like to see the Xterra sink his claws in that run. Thank you very much indeed, Shuri, for that donation.
Yeah, and yeah, we've entered the Transfiguration lesson. It gives us the ability to turn stone rabbits into actual rabbits, which seems like a very useful spell in your everyday life. It's quite a chill challenge. It's probably my favorite one from the aesthetics. Do another turn cast here so we get control of the bunny early. It has a couple of cool tricks. It has one that is probably the one thing that would be banned in glitchless. We don't have a glitchless category, by the way, because there just isn't enough. Like, all of the tricks we do are pretty much just movement abuse and game mechanic abuse, but none of them are really glitches, except the one that's coming up soon. This one here, the room is actually quite big, but this hatch is conveniently shaped, so you can just slide up as the bunny. And we're gonna meet the second thing we can transform. It's a stone dragon, and we can make an actual dragon out of it. Another very useful spell. So yeah, this is the room we do a leg jump in, that's what we call the trick. So we jump, go to the menu and press print screen. And what that does is it lags your game just a little bit because it makes a screenshot of your PC or of your desktop. And you can clear that gap that you aren't supposed to clear. But with the jump and pausing at a specific timing and then lagging your game, you can make it. And it skips like quite a long cutscene of McGonagall introducing the dragon. But we're gonna have a lot of fun with the dragon later. It has the worst hitbox you can imagine. Like its wing hitbox is pretty much twice as big as it should be. So you get stuck all the time essentially. So I like the bunny more, like way more. This room has another small trick. Did I make it on the bench? Yes. That's why you want to stand while casting at this. But in this room you're supposed to ignite all 3 with a fireball. We just do 2, because this level is very convenient. Oh, that almost didn't make it. But this level has very convenient flower pots, or plant pots, like this one. So we only need those 2 to be out, and then we can get past it. Also, if you're confused about the ledge grab animations, they look kind of glitched. That's because you can skip them. Like every time I climb a ledge, I press a button at a specific time, and that skips half of the ledge grab animation. It is kind of scary sometimes, because if you do it wrong, you can clip into the platform and you can soft lock. At least as long as it's a moving platform. And yeah, I don't know what this is. Don't question it. I don't know who looked at this and thought, hey, I want this in my game. But it's here. We only fight it once. It does appear later, but we can just move past it. It is one of the weirdest enemies. And hey, more imps. This is kind of where Transfiguration gets good or bad. Oh, that was really good. Dang. Quadruple kills are nice. And once again, you can't really manipulate them. This room has a maze. That was not good. It doesn't really have a maze for speedrunners though, because we just jump on the door and we're at the end of the maze. And that's the entire challenge. That was actually not too bad. Those imps kind of pulled it off. There we go, gonna get the shield. Hermione's gonna celebrate in whatever pose that is. I don't know what she's celebrating, to be honest. We didn't even get any shields, because this is any percent. Actually, we had to get shields in any percent until last year. Because in order to reach the credits in this game, you have to complete certain tasks. Like, they give you a checklist at the end of the game that you need to complete to reach the credits. Which used to be our requirement for, like, any percent reaching the credits. But last year we found a trigger that we could just jump into to get into the credits, or to get to the credits. Sadly, that trigger is only, like, accessible at the end of the game anyways, but at least it skips all of the collecting part for the requirement list. I guess if you have some more donations or something, we have time for that, because we enter Quidditch Cutscene, which is the last long one in the run.
Excellent. Well, that's very appropriate because we do have a couple of donations here. We've received €5 here from NBNC, who says, "Hi streamer, when's the library soft lock?"
The library soft lock. Oh boy. Yeah, getting up to that soon.
And then we've also received €10 from McZolly, who says, "Great commentary. Keep going, Nixo. Small correction. Quidditch World Cup is the last good game."
Yeah, thanks Zolly first of all, but he likes Quidditch World Cup a lot for some reason. It's not a bad game, to be fair. It's kind of a standalone Harry Potter game. It's a really fun casual game if you play it against your friends. Yeah, we're playing Quidditch, as you see. They don't have Quidditch in this game as a playable minigame. They have in the first 2 games. I actually think they don't have Quidditch because of Quidditch World Cup. Because they didn't want to ruin their own business, kind of. So yeah, there's just a cutscene in this game where you just fall down. It's very great, and it has pixel Dementors, or 2D Dementors. let's just not talk about that cutscene. It's not really worth it. But yeah, we're learning Expecto Patronum. It's a private lesson for Harry, so he can defend himself against the Dementors. And this level is kind of not really, like, you can't really lose time here. But what you have to do, this spell is a bit different than all of the other ones. Because you can't just click and cast it, you actually have to charge it up. And you can only release it after the... Well, you'll see. But you have to charge the spell up, kind of. Which makes for kind of awkward timing for speedrunners. Because we want to release it the first possible moment. But we also have to make sure we don't release it too early. Like, the idea is kind of, when the white ring reaches your wand, you can release it, and it should work. But sometimes it doesn't, so... Expecto Patronum is kind of an annoying spell. At least it looks pretty cool. And, well, yeah, Lupin tries to challenge us with more Dementors. They're, as I said earlier, pretty much the lamest boss ever created. Because they just slowly creep towards you. I've literally never seen anyone die to it. I died to it once on purpose, because I wanted to see if something happens. Spoiler, nothing happens. You just fade out. But like, they're so slow and they do so little damage that I don't think you can die to those if you're actually trying. So I don't know what those bosses are. This game is quite easy anyways in casual. Like, really dying and restarting is so hard to do if you play this casually. It's a very, very easy game, which is a shame because the first two have been a lot harder casually. Also, how do you test your student? You build a super deep pit where he falls down and meets more Dementors. That will challenge him. Good thing that Harry has legs of, like, iron or steel, so he can survive the fall. And yeah, the donation talked about the library softlock. Well, here we are in the library. First we'll fight some books, but this room has a cool trick as well. It's another Carpus wing. And there's a trigger they placed in the air. I'll try to swing into it after I defeated those books. And yeah, they left the trigger in the air, and it totally breaks this level. But sometimes breaking levels isn't too good, and sometimes you can just softlock. But yeah, if you swing on this and recast, I should land right into it. There we go, that's the trigger. It teleports, oh no, that's not looking good. Yep, there we have it. That's a reload. There's nothing I can do about that, but that happens. Gotta fight the books again. It's about 40 seconds. But yeah, what's supposed to happen is that the trigger teleports Hermione behind the door. Let's just hope it doesn't happen twice, because we had a tournament once in this game, and a runner named Run Like AJ got it like 3 times in a row, maybe 4 times. Also, this is kind of a shame, because I was literally a second behind my PB. Oh, okay. Alright, let's try this again. That wasn't great.
I must comment that was a very prophetic donation, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, sadly.
That one.
Sadly, it happened. Oh, that's a very long cutscene skip. But Hermione's behind the door, so this time we got it. That's what is supposed to happen. And then it skips like an entire puzzle section. Another turncast here. And this is actually the origin of the turncast, this room. Because we can just get the dragon early and we don't have to bother with the imps. And the origin story of this room is just a runner got mad about the imps and just started to, you know, move his mouse into random places and rage, and then discovered you can just cast through there on accident. That's quite a nice discovery. Thankfully now we don't have to do those imps anymore at all. And now we're entering Glacius, which is probably the most fun challenge casually. It's not that fun anymore if you've done it like 1,000 times, like speedrunners have. So let's see how this goes. It has a pretty cool mechanic, which is the Glacius slides, which once again for casuals is probably the most fun of this run. But not really if you've done it 1,000 times. I said that before. I don't know. This is Salamander. You just kill them. They're not really hard at all. Another good meme cutscene here, because Harry's comment is great. It is solid ice indeed. You know, I prefer my ice liquid, but Harry does like solid ice apparently. Yeah, Flitwick is explaining it. You're supposed to go down kind of carefully. There's one shield, like one collectible, that is actually on a cycle, which we don't need, thankfully. But you can only get that properly if you go down slow, or if you know speedrun strats. But you're not supposed to go full speed. Thankfully we can, so we just hold down, like hold forward down, and just go fast. There's only one spot where you have to brake. Otherwise you just slide out. But that's what this entire challenge is based around. There's one skip in this challenge. Everything else is kind of just sliding. But it is quite fun if you play it casually. You just have to pay attention to not slide out on a speedrun, because it always spawns you up top, and it's like the biggest time loss ever. Not as big as the library softlock, but it's pretty bad. It also has some inaccessible beans, which I'm still mad about. I didn't really talk about that because it's kind of irrelevant for the speedrun. But all of the stuff you see here, all of those thingies, are actually in-game currency, which you can buy like collector's cards with, and secrets with, and all of that stuff. And I did an all beans run, or I tried to do an all beans run in this, so like getting every single bean. But this challenge, once again, literally has some that are placed in a position you cannot get. I'm not too sure why, but it's just what they decided to do apparently. And we always want to go left here. It's not too much faster, but the left side is a bit faster than the right side. It has the worst like collectibles though. The blue things are worth more than the pumpkins in the shop, which once again doesn't matter for us. Okay, the one skip this level has is incoming now. People call it differently. I like to call it bridge skip, because there's a bridge coming up. We jump on it and use the speed of the platform to clear this gap like easily. It saves more than you think. Like, you're supposed to go in all of those side rooms, and it's actually quite of a tedious part. Like this side room and this side room. But like that you can just jump over. We have some more imps. Kind of like the only thing in this run that's in this level that you can lose time on. Because once again, imps are not really consistent. They're just kind of annoying. And we're already entering the last slide. As I said before, this one you actually have to break at some point. I hope I don't miss it. Otherwise you're just gonna die. It's indicated quite well though, with some pumpkins. The rest of it you can do full speed. So it wasn't too bad of a challenge. At least I didn't slide off. Yet, I guess. We're not quite done. Yeah, this is the indicator. If you see the pumpkins, you just break. Otherwise, you're dead. Hey, I got the card. Actually, this challenge is kind of annoying for Hunter, because there's so much stuff on the slides you have to get. And, well, movement on the slides is kind of annoying. So, 100% runs don't necessarily die here, but have a hard time here. Okay, there we go. That was Harry's challenge. Glacier's done. And now the game realizes, wait, we've done nothing story related. So the next 2 levels will be all of the story. So 2 levels that have all the story packed into them. Because for now we've just done like school stuff essentially. Actually there's quite a long cutscene here, so if you have something, feel free to.
Yes, we do indeed. We have received another 5 euros from Complex Beaver, who says, quick correction, Quidditch World Cup came out before Harry Potter 3. So, Harry Potter 3 is the last good game. Quick correction number 2, Harry Potter 4 is the best game. Changed my mind.
I feel like those quick corrections kind of contradict themselves just a little bit. But that's fair. Yeah, there's some people that absolutely hate HP4, which is the majority of people. I still think it's a decent speedrun. It's not a bad speedrun at least. But the game casually is, in my opinion, is not very good. It's suffering from the bad AI. It would be much better if the AI would actually do stuff. But yeah, story-wise, once again, now it starts, kind of. Now the HP3 story starts. Ron found his rat again, and spoiler, it's not a rat. I mean, what? And then we have like the big dog coming in that we've seen a few times in the cutscenes. I guess everyone knows the story. I don't know why I'm keeping this suspense. But yeah, he's kidnapping Ron below the Whomping Willow. Also, Ron's voice actor had fun recording this, I'm sure. And this level is kind of a bit weird, to be honest. It's very non-Harry Potter-ish because it has skeletons. And I was really scared of this level as a child. Because those skeletons just appear out of nothing, pretty much. Like, they're just those piles of bones, and they start to move all of a sudden. And as a child, I was just super paranoid. I expected a skeleton everywhere. And you need Hermione for this, which makes this level kind of slow. You need her to actually help. That was a nice cast. So if you have the timing down, you can let go of the spell before her spell icon even appears. That was too early, for example. But yeah, it's pretty much all just timing based. She always takes kind of the same amount to cast, so you can time it. But she also sometimes tends to troll you and just fake the spell. Oh no, more salamanders. I mean, Harry killed like 10 of those already, but now he's scared. This room is kind of weird. My game used to crash here when I started running. I don't know why, like until this point. It just stopped at some point and now it doesn't crash anymore. But it's kind of just a fight arena, pretty quick. This entire level is, once again, kind of slow-paced. Because you need Hermione and it's just a lot of skeletons. Also, I'm skipping save books purposely, by the way. Which is not smart in case the game crashes, but they take a lot of time to save. And now, in the cutscene, Harry and Hermione get separated. And conveniently, Hermione gets the path that has the dragon statue. Which is the one spell she learned this year, pretty much. Because every student in Hogwarts, according to this game, only learns one spell per year. Oh, I skipped both ledge grabs, nice. So those platforms I jumped over. Usually you get at least one ledge grab, but that was pretty neat. And Harry conveniently gets the path where we have the glaciers thing. What a coincidence. Imagine they would have switched places. They both would not be able to advance. I mean, I guess technically Hermione learns 2 spells. That's a good point. Because her lesson has 2 spells.
When you're ready, let me know. Got a donation for you?
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. Trosk says, hey Nico, good luck with Harry Potter 3, and let's get that first cycle Ron's final. And that
Thanks,
was
man.
€10, so thank you very much indeed.
Appreciate it. I mean, I'll go for it. Once again, the Tricking Carpet final, it's quite tight and, well, 2-frame window. And you have to do like hard stuff before, so it's not just that one 2-frame window, but we'll see. I'll go for it. For charity, because I know people will donate for it. But yeah, it's called First Cycle or Fast Cycle or Mylan Cycle after the guy who found it. There are a lot of names for it. And kind of people like to measure time in Carpe cycles because the final is called Carpe Retractum Final. And it's 100% cycle based, so you can only save time in increments of, I think, 16 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that. Because that's how long a cycle is. There we go. We have the willow part done. We can go out of this co-op hell. I think that's the last time we need the AI actually to do something, right? I think so, yeah. Should be one of the last double casts. I think there's some more in the next level, but not too many. And yeah, this cutscene is 100% of the plot. This dog isn't a dog. It's actually a dude. And then he's not an evil guy all of a sudden. I guess we all know the twists. Also, I still think the character models look decent, but for some reason their eyes are just super dead, which is bothering me, kind of. And hey, this rat is also not a rat. And he really cannot explain. Spoiler. And then it's kind of a shame that we skip all of the other cutscenes, because the Expecto Patronum cutscenes are actually quite neat. But you know, gotta go fast, so we skip what we can. This boss fight is once again easy, but there's one trick here. Because now the Dementors are dying and like the next wave is spawning in, and we can kind of cast early and then curve our spell, and that should hit. Yes, there we go. You saw that spell hit the Dementor that just spawned. It saves a bit of charging, but you can kind of cast at them early like that. We will have a bigger Dementor fight later. That was only the first one. But we're gonna go back in time now. We've used the Time Turner, which is, you know, a Harry Potter thing. And now we're trying to rescue Buckbeak, who was convicted for attacking Draco earlier, in case you remember. So now he's, for some reason, up here. And we need to save him. That level is quite neat as well. I liked it as a child, at least. It has a few cool tricks as well. But first we have to help Hermione up. Sometimes she isn't in this cutscene. I'm not too sure why. But sometimes Hermione just appears out of nothing in this cutscene. It's kind of weird. And we have more dragon flying. It's I think that no, it's not the last dragon. We have Hermione's final. But it's the last story relevant level. After this one is done, we just have exams. Because who doesn't like to play exams in video games, right? It's the most fun thing ever. There we go. Yeah, we don't go back in time with the DeLorean. That's the wrong franchise indeed. Once again, skipping the save books. Those imps are probably, yeah, I think it's 8 imps or something. Looks like it. It's the biggest amount of imps we have in this run. And they kind of line up quite nicely sometimes. That was a really good one. I think that was 5 in 1. So that's pretty neat. You just kind of have to get lucky that they all line up in one spot. I am not entirely sure if that is true, but I think someone got like all 8 in one throw once. Correct me if that's wrong in chat, because I know some people know. But I think someone got actually all of them in one. But I take 5 in 1, that's pretty good. So this room has another skip. First we have to defeat those 4 pixies. Sometimes Hermione is helping, so I let, like, I know, hey, that's actually the one. Oh no, it wasn't the one. I skipped one of those pixies on purpose, because that's usually the one that that Hermione cast at. Another turn cast here. There we go. And that one skips more than you might think, because it's supposed to be a co-op cast. And it takes so long for the Spongify tile to happen, to open. So if you cast through the wall, you skip the co-op cast and you open the Spongify tile while doing something else. And there we go, Buckbeak pretty much rescued. Now we're gonna change history pretty much. And we have, well, the same boss fight again. So if you want to squeeze in some donations again, it's probably the last chance.
Okay, well, I would like to again remind everyone we are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering, and we organise bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. Due to the situation surrounding COVID-19, we're currently doing our first BSG online event, with streamers from both the Benelux and the rest of the world bringing you entertainment during the lockdown. And we are raising money this time for the Red Cross. Very quickly, before we get to the final here, we've got a couple of the incentives. We've got currently €20 at 50 for punching the boulder. And we have €15 out of 100 for changing jump and dash colours for Shovel Knight King of Cards. So please keep your donations coming in for those.
Thanks for that. So yeah, that's the last fight done. The Dementors are quite loud, I'm so sorry for that. But they are kind of not in the in-game sound slider. So if you're confused why they're so much louder than the rest, it's because you can't really balance them. They're on a separate slider that like we don't have access to because of great coding. Okay, yeah, time for probably one of the, I mean, I said Carpet Challenge is the hardest, like the first level. Carpet Final is close though. It's just a series of hard swings. Let's see. Let's see if we can get it. So you gotta skip the first cutscene real quick, otherwise the cycles are messed up. Because once again, the entirety of this level is cycle based. That's not good. That's okay, I'll reload the level. You saw nothing. I bumped into like a weird spot. There we go. So that's the first cycle. That's usually the easy one. And then this one is the tough one, because you have to time it well. That looks good. There we go. That's the first part done. Now we just have to time this well. Oh my god. Oh my god. There we go. That's the 2-frame window. Well, I want to see you guys' money for that.
Can I chime in? We do have one for that.
Yeah, there we go. That's the trick. So what happened there is you jump at a precise timing, and then you leg jump. Like you press print screen on your keyboard to leg the game. You might have seen that. And, well, that gives you a bit more momentum, pretty much, than you would get. Like, once again, as the leg jump during Transfiguration, it gives you more momentum and more speed, and you can get a bit further. And then you get kind of stuck in the wall, and you can make it on that platform, and it skips an entire cycle, which, once again, is 15 or 16 seconds. I'm honestly not too sure anymore. But Hermione's Final is also quite neat. You're supposed to bring the bunny all the way around. We just jump into the window and jump to the end, because this game has nice level design, and they gave us the window to jump into, so we use it. So we don't really have to bother with the bunny. Also, Hermione's Final was the bane of my childhood, pretty much. Because this task is timed at a specific point. If I can get this fireball. So this task is on a timer, and as a child I was a pretty big completionist. I still am, to be honest. So I wanted to have everything in this lesson, like every little collectible. And it's kind of hard to do while you're on a timer. So I timed out so many times and had to redo it. It was terrible as a child. And yeah, it's just flying. We have to take good corners. We have to pay attention to not get stuck, because once again, Dragon Hitbox is a bit bigger than it seems. A speedrun in a speedrun, pretty much. Good thing is the timer resets every time you reach another room. And if you've done this a few times, it's not really hard. You have quite a lot of time. I mean, it's a game for children, so... Oh, whoops, that's not a good cycle. There we go. Just gotta know what the exit is. Yeah, we're getting some beans, some pumpkins. Once again, in-game currency that we don't really care about, but they're in the way anyways, so we might as well. And that is our second final almost done, Hermione's exams. And then we only have Harry's left, which, to be honest, is kind of a disappointment. Harry's final is quite lame, because instead of making it an actual cool challenge, they just made it a big enemy rush, kind of. Also, there's a small trick here if I can get it. You can jump into the trigger. I didn't get it. That's okay. Like, you always have to click X at final. But in that scenario, the trigger is right next to it, so you can jump into it and save one click. It's not too big of a skip. Another leg jump here. Once again, jump, pause, and press print screen on your keyboard. Legs the game enough to make it down the slide. And, well, you saw what happened to the death plane. It's not really there, because they don't expect you to get off. So that's the one cool thing about this final. And from now on it's just, you know, killing a bunch of stuff. A bunch of enemies. Few imps. Could you go together? Thank you. And at least you get a rich reward for it. Those shields are actually kind of annoying in 100%, because you can jump through them just randomly and don't get them, and you have like little to no chance to get them, because this platform goes down, as you see. It just gets lowered until the ground. But yeah, we relive all of this stuff again. We started with imps, now we have crabs. Oh, whoops. That one wasn't in. This level can also softlock. We had one today though, so please don't. Please don't HP 3. I've not had that softlock in for a while though. But sometimes, even though you pushed everything in, the platform doesn't lower. He's casting Rick to Sempra. It's close. Close enough. That's probably the most used spell, and they changed the icon for it in this game, which I'm not too sure why, but it had a different icon in HP 2. And for some reason now it's this weird... Oh no. Oh, thank god. I thought it happened, but there was just one crab that wasn't in. But yeah, this is the second where it can happen, the softlock. But we're fine, we're fine. From now on, this run should finish smoothly. I think I should be with an estimate, even with that softlock. Yeah, definitely. So time is not really coming up quite yet, but slowly but surely creeping towards it. Like a minute or so. This level has another cool thing, more turn casts, because there's salamanders behind here. If I would know where they are, it would make it easier. I don't think I hit them. There we go. You're not supposed to fight those salamanders yet, but you can just cast through the wall and just get rid of them. I'm pretty sure I got rid of one already. Come on. Where are you? Okay, I can't find the second one. That's okay. Let's just not die here. That would be bad. Because that happened to me once. If there's any level you can die in, it's this one. Because there's just so much stuff going on. Like, you still shouldn't. You also have chocolate frogs, which refill your health, in case you didn't know that. Okay, there we go. Now we're just gonna spongify up. And as I explained before, we used to collect a lot of stuff for the requirement list. And that requirement list is coming up very soon, after this level. And once again, the game intends you to do a lot of side missions, pretty much. I guess that's a good way to say it. So yeah, get ready on time. It's coming up in like 20 or so. So they're gonna show us the requirement list, but instead of completing it, we just jump into the door. You know, classic speedrun stuff. Because the devs conveniently left the trigger for the last cutscene, for the credits pretty much. They conveniently left it inside of the door, in a reachable height, for whatever reason. So, time. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but there we go. That's HP 3 for the PC. Now we're just gonna have, you know, cutscene in the train, and then we have the credits. Shoutouts for HP devs for leaving that trigger there, by the way. And we didn't find that for so long. It's actually kind of fascinating, because people jumped around in that room for like quite a while. And nobody found it until last year, so it's actually quite interesting. But yeah, I guess that's it for me. Shoutouts to BSG for letting me run. It's really awesome, I appreciate that. And shoutouts to everyone who donated. And thanks for the GGs, I also appreciate those.
Well, GGs, mentioned donations. I do have a couple more if you'd like to stick around and listen for. I've got two more for you. I've got 10 euros again from Complex Beaver, who says, I've got to go, but GG Nixo, here is the 10 for totally getting the mail-in cycle. So thank you very much for. And we've also received 30 euros from Anubis169, who says, one punch, let's hit that boulder, keep being awesome and happy muffins. Well, that also tips that one over. We've now got the boulder punch incentive for Resident Evil. So thank you very much indeed again for that. Any final words, Nixo?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really. Thanks again for letting me run. That's my main point. It's really awesome. It was really fun. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
Well, thank you very much indeed for a fantastic run. Really do appreciate that. Stay with us, folks. We've got a new run coming up very shortly. We're going to be having Shuri Bear with Ninja Gaiden. I'm going to be handing it over as well now. That'll be me finishing just now to Killer Chair. But thank you very much indeed. Keep watching, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Cheerio for now.
Bye-bye.